Hi everyone, welcome to another one of our LinkedIn Live events. Today's topic is going to be overcoming lack of mutual understanding in romantic relationships. Now, this live was supposed to happen last week, but I couldn't go live due to some reason, and this is why we will be covering this topic today. Before I begin, I'm just going to quickly check if I'm live, and then we are going to start. And for those of you who are probably attending this live for the very first time, how this happens is that I explain to you one topic in depth, and you can ask me as many questions as you want in the comment section. Or if you're watching this as a recording on YouTube, then you can just put your questions in the comment section. Or if you're in one of my free WhatsApp communities, then you can just DM me the questions, and I will be happy to send you an audio coaching on that. Okay, let's see. Okay, yeah, I think I am live, so we'll go ahead. Now, what is mutual understanding, right? So when we say mutual understanding, what do I really mean by that? Now, of course, when you are in a relationship with someone, you bring your own system, you bring your own thought patterns, you bring your own emotions, you bring your own understanding of the world into the relationship. Similarly, the other person is also going to bring their own understanding of the world. The family system that they come from is going to influence their thinking, and of course their own set of emotions and everything into the relationship. Now, it is very unrealistic to expect that you both are going to agree on everything. It is also unrealistic to expect that your partner has to agree with everything that you are saying, or that if my partner agrees with me, that is love, right? That is not love. That is just submission. So that is when the skill of being able to mutually understand each other comes into the play, and I'm calling it a skill because if you are in a relationship for the very first time, or you're married for the very first time, or technically that also counts as a relationship, then of course you don't know how to mutually understand someone, specifically in a romantic relationship setup. Right now, probably if you have dated, or if you've had romantic relationships in the past, this skill is something that you're probably a little bit used to. But this is a skill. Okay, you're not born from your mother's womb knowing, okay, this is how to handle conflicts, this is how to handle mutual understanding, right? So first I want to talk about what do I mean when I say mutual understanding in a romantic relationship. You can also apply these formulas to other relationships, but today we are sticking to romantic relationship for the sake of context. Okay, so the first part about mutual understanding is meeting halfway. Now, you're going to have many conversations in your relationship with your partner. And in a lot of conversations, you're going to want different things, and your partner is going to want different things. Now, how do we decide? How do we decide which way to go? Right? Instead of sticking to my point is right or your point is wrong, you need to meet halfway, right? You need to meet halfway with the partner, wherein you are meeting some of your needs and your partner is also meeting some of their needs, because you are a team, you are in a relationship. The relationship cannot steer just one way, right? So a big part of mutual understanding is meeting halfway to whatever is concerned, whatever the discussion is about. The second thing about mutual understanding, or like to check the degree of mutual understanding that you actually have with your partner, is how effectively are you able to resolve conflicts on your own without external interference. Now, a lot of people, specifically people who are in marriages that were arranged by their parents, right? A very a big phenomenon in India specifically. When you're coming from that setup, it can be very easy to sort of bring family and friends into the conversation whenever you're having a conflict. But I highly recommend against that, because when you do that, what you're doing is that you are also, not only you are airing dirty laundry in public, what happens is that you don't respect yourself and your partner enough to keep things between the both of you, right? And you don't go through the difficult phases of relationship that you should go through to evolve, and you are just bringing other people into the conversation to just avoid the topic. Okay, that way you both lose belief in the relationship over a period of time, and also other people get involved, which is honestly not recommended at all. So if you're able to resolve conflicts on your own, and to what degree are you able to resolve it, kind of indicates how well do you understand each other, right? That also counts as mutual understanding. The next one is, do you guys share the same vision for relationship? Now, what do I mean by this? So you will be surprised how many people don't actually talk about what is it that they want in their life and in the relationship few years down the line. Now, This could be in the case of both, if you're getting married or you are probably married, or maybe you're dating someone. Now, when you start having these conversations, you will start to see where your partner is seeing their life going, like headed towards, and where do you believe your life is headed towards. Often we assume what I want is what my partner wants, which is again a very big assumption. Something that I said in the last live event that I often talk about is assume nothing and communicate everything, right? Sometimes you have to not actually sometimes, just communicate everything. Don't assume anything about your partner, right? Your partner is a different human being, and they can and will have thoughts that you did not think they would, right? So ask questions about their life as to where do they believe their life is heading, and you also have to share where is your life heading. Now, when I say vision, what do I mean? It could be something as simple as, do you plan to stay in the same city if you both are in the same city? After 5 years, where do you see your work taking you towards after 5 years? Do you plan to have kids? What do you think about living together? What do you think about our living situation if we do get married? What do you think about finances? What do you think about household chores? So these are questions that you really need to ask to understand what kind of a partner do you actually have. Because just because you think things will just work out doesn't mean that they would. Things will work out when you both agree on something. You can have a vastly different idea about something, and your partner could have a vastly different idea about something, right? So the same vision means that you both agree on where your relationship is heading. Sometimes conflicts happen when two people are growing but in different ways, right? One partner is growing here and another partner is growing there, and both of them believe that their growth is right, and the relationship sort of falls apart, because you both need to grow in the same direction, right? Or at least you need to agree on the direction where you both are going, so that the relationship can move forward. If both of you are just going very different ways, then it's not going to work out, right? That is what I mean when I say same vision. So you need to start talking about where does your partner think their life is going, and then you have to see whether your life fits with that. Now, the fourth thing is love and respect for each other's individuality. Now, a big part of mutual understanding is having a basic, like I would say, understanding or basic idea that the other person that I'm with is different from me. Just because we are in a relationship doesn't mean that we become one unit, as people like to call it, or that we just become, one, like we get morphed into just one person, right? Your partner is different from you, right? Your partner has their own individuality, and it is their individuality that you fell in love with, right? Considering that you are in love with your partner. So you have to respect your partner's individuality. Only then can will you be able to mutually bring about an understanding in relationship about anything. Most of the times there is no mutual understanding in relationship when you think that your partner has to agree with everything, or your partner needs to say yes to what you are saying yes to, and that's a blatant disrespect of their individuality, right? Both of you can want very different things, and that's okay, right? And this is where mutual understanding comes into play. It is hard to understand someone when you don't respect them as a person, when you see them as an extension of you, which is something that some people do with their partners, and which is very, very wrong. Now, what is not mutual understanding, right? So, if this counts as mutual understanding, what do we call not being able to mutually understand each other? Now, you have to understand that mutual understanding is the basis of your relationship. If you can't understand each other and make decisions together in a relationship, it is not a relationship at all. It turns into a wrestling match. It turns into, me versus you. And, you said this, you said that, right? So, it turns into basically a fight wherein you are against your own partner. So mutual understanding is the basis of your relationship. You are going to have to agree on things as partners for your relationship to move forward, right? And that is where your understanding of each other comes into play. So what do we consider not mutual understanding? Before I move forward with this, I'm just going to quickly see if my internet is working fine. Okay, yeah. All right. So, what is not mutual understanding? The first thing, disagreeing on important matters. Now, what counts as important? Important counts as things that are pretty life changing and can have a very big impact on your life. So one thing that I like to often recommend to people who are in relationship to talk about extensively is money, finances. So believe it or not, money is one of the biggest reasons of separation in the world among couples. It is because you have to understand that when it comes to finances, it kind of gives you the ability to choose. Okay, it gives you a lot of power. So when you don't agree on finances, what you're essentially disagreeing on is how am I going to exercise my freedom and how am I going to exercise my power, right? So please talk about finances, please talk about money. Read how your partner's financial habits are, and be aware of your own financial habits. And if you don't agree together on your finances, then it's going to create a problem, because money is a very big part of everything you do in life, right? There is nothing that you can do in your relationship without money. Even if you want to buy a home or rent a home, you need money. To buy food, you need money, right? See, when you have money, you can have other problems, but when you don't have money, you just have one problem, which is you don't have money, right? So finances can create a lot of complications. It can create power dynamics, it can create the feeling of superiority and inferiority. So talk about money, talk about finances. The second thing is about children and how to raise children. Again, this is a very significant topic that a lot of people don't talk about. See, something that will wildly change when you have kids is you are going to realize just how important someone can become to you, right? Because it's a part of you, right? So there could be things that you feel very very strongly about when it comes to your child that your partner may not agree with. So you have to also talk about kids, whether you want them, whether you not want them. If you do want them, how would you like to raise them? So basically, ideologies on it. The third thing could be your living situation. So, specifically speaking about India, a lot of people still like to live with their parents after getting married, specifically men. So, if you as a woman are not okay with it, you need to talk about it with your partner. And you need to also see the kind of relationship your partner may have with their parents and how okay are you with it. Because, again, what has happened specifically in our country is that even though we see a lot of modernization that has happened in terms of women going out and being part of the workforce, women are still looked at as the primary caregivers of the kids and the in-laws and everything like that, right? So a lot of regressive practices still haven't stopped. So as a woman, it's your responsibility to talk about these things. How is the living situation going to be after you get married? You cannot come from a place of uh, you know I will be the perfect submissive wife, and yet I will also be a working woman at the same time. You can't be that, right? So you have to talk about it. So this is what important matters are. And again, this is just a very very small list. Important matters can comprise of many 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 things. So when you don't agree on important matters, it is very hard that to say that you will actually be able to sustain your relationship. So this is what lack of mutual understanding is. Another thing is when one partner is dominant, which means that one partner is sort of dominating the entire relationship, as in whatever they say is happening. That is also not mutual understanding, right? Now this can happen when another partner is submissive and they don't express themselves, or the partner is really dominant and controlling and they don't let the other person assert themselves. So when that is the case, again, that's not mutual understanding at all. Okay, maybe if you are a dominant partner, you may believe that, oh, everything is hunky dory, but that's you don't really know what may be going on in your partner's mind and heart. Or if you're a submissive partner, or you don't like to assert yourself, if you continue with this charade, then this doesn't mean that the relationship is going hunky dory. It just means that you're slowly complying to everything. And that again is not mutual understanding. That's giving up your individuality, giving up your identity, giving up a part of yourself. And the next thing is disrespect and abuse of any kind. So when I say disrespect, I mean disrespect of any kind. Okay, I don't just mean disrespect which is like very blatant disrespect. Or abuse doesn't always mean that somebody is physically abusing you or torturing you. Abuse can also be financial abuse, when somebody is using your finances, your partner. Here I'm talking about a romantic relationship, that your partner is using you financially, or your partner doesn't agree with you that wouldn't count as abuse, to be honest. But financial abuse would, when somebody is like financially abusing you, right? In the sense of they're using your money to do everything, and then they're not letting you touch their money. You both are not contributing equally. They're completely dependent on you, and they don't contribute in any way to the household, or um, to the expenses. That counts as financial abuse. And it can abuse also counts as mental and emotional abuse, right? When somebody is constantly berating you, disrespecting you, looking down on you, gaslighting you, manipulating you, that also counts as abuse, right? So when that is there in the relationship, mutual understanding will not happen and cannot happen, right? Now let's talk about why does it happen, right? Why do two partners not agree on things, or why is it that they're unable to resolve their conflicts? Again, before I come to this, I'll just quickly check if I'm still online, because I'm paranoid that I will go offline. Okay, I'm still online. That's good. My internet is not betraying me today. All right, so why does it exist, right? Why is it that we are unable to agree with our partners, or why is it that a relationship often tends to hit roadblocks? Now I'm going to be talking about some really important points here. Now this doesn't cover everything, but this covers largely a lot of things. To really understand the root cause of your issues, you have to do deep inner work, and you have to really talk about honestly about what is going on in your relationship. And that is when a trauma informed coach can actually give you a bird's eye view of it. So if you're someone who's actually looking to work on your relationship wounds, then you can just book a one-on-one session with me by DMing me coaching, or you can find the link to it in my LinkedIn bio, and you can book a session there, and you can discuss the relationship in depth and the issues you're facing with me, and we can work on it from like completely a trauma informed perspective, as well as I can give you a bird's eye viewpoint on what is really happening. Now, why does it exist, right? So, the first point of why mutual understanding, lack of mutual understanding exists, is lack of understanding yourself, right? Now, this goes for either your partner or for you, okay? Or it can go for both of you. The first point is lack of understanding yourself. When you don't understand yourself, you are not going to understand your partner. You're not going to understand the issues in your relationship. And you're just going to be this headless person who's just floating through life, trying to like comply with these made up rules of society, or made up rules probably your parents taught you, and you yourself do not really understand what is happening, right? Which means that maybe let's say if your partner is like that, you keep on communicating with your partner that okay, these are the issues, and your partner just ignores it, or just believes that oh, there is no issue at all, you're being dramatic, or they make you feel that you're just making up things. This is a result of your partner having very low level of self awareness. When someone is unable to understand you, it is because they don't understand their own self. So when your partner doesn't understand your own self, they are not going to understand you, and that goes for you too. When you don't understand yourself, you will not be able to understand your partner. See, the depth at which your relationship can go is always proportionate to the depth of relationship that you have with yourself. And that is why people who have a lot of unhealed trauma always face relationship issues, because anything that has been left unhealed from your old family system, right, all the unhealed childhood trauma that you're carrying from your childhood, you're going to take it to your relationship, because that's the most intimate relationship that you have, and you're going to subject it to your partner and then to your kids in case you have any, or you're planning to have any. So when there's a lot of unhealed childhood trauma, now what kind of unhealed childhood trauma? It's a whole world. So I suggest that you watch the free boot camp I did on healing childhood trauma. It's available on again for free in the feature section of my profile, LinkedIn profile. So just go there and you can watch it there. And you can also read a lot of my posts, and you will find out what kind of childhood trauma I'm talking about. So childhood trauma could be many, and I'll talk about a few themes of that. But when that is the case, you don't really understand yourself, right? This could mean that if your partner is like that, this could mean that your partner doesn't know what he wants, or what she wants, or your partner doesn't understand what are conflicts in relationship. Your partner doesn't understand how to love. Your partner doesn't understand how to support. Your partner doesn't understand what is actually bothering you, or your partner has very low EQ. You have to like tell them everything, right? This is a sign of a person who doesn't understand himself. So when that is the case, no matter how much you communicate, your partner is not going to understand that. So they need inner work. They need to work on themselves to come to a point where they can understand you, because sometimes, and really sometimes, communication does not solve things. I'm a very big fan of communication, and I always tell all of my clients who come to me with relationship problems that please speak, communicate very clearly. But sometimes you can communicate everything that there is to it, yet your partner does not understand it because he doesn't have the capacity to understand, right? He or she does not have the capacity to understand. They see no mistake, they see no fault of their own, or they are unable to take accountability, right? And probably it is because they don't really know how to, and it is because there's a lot of past, there's a lot of unhealed trauma that they're carrying that they don't know or they're not aware of, right? So in that case, it can feel very frustrating as a partner that I'm doing everything I can, yet my partner doesn't understand me. Now, I want to talk about a few childhood trauma themes that often result into these kind of patterns. Okay, the first is entanglement with parents. This is a very big one. Okay, I want you to know, and I want you to like fit it into your head. Anything that has been unresolved with your parents, you will carry it in your relationship. You will carry it. It is a guarantee. Okay. So when your partner or you, okay, when your partner is entangled with their parents, right? That kind of entanglement is going to come into your relationship. Now, what do I mean by entanglement? So, first could be your partner never saw mutual agreement between their own parents. You, let's say your partner always saw that his father was always dominant or his mother was always dominant, right? So, when that is the case, your partner will not understand what mutual understanding is. He may think that rigidity is the way to go, or that one partner decides how things are going to be. Another could be that your partner is a people pleaser to his own parents. So that can mean that whenever you both are discussing something, he often goes back to his parents and he wants to just follow their instruction like a child. He hasn't really grown up, or he hasn't actually healed the trauma that he has gotten from his own parents. Another could be that he feels emotionally very indebted, and again, a sign of unhealed childhood trauma, to his parents, because of which his attention and energy is always to his parents. Okay, now I'm using the word his. It doesn't mean it is specific to men. Please understand that. Okay, I can't say his or all the time, but this applies to both men and women. So I just want to make that clear. Now, let's say his attention is always towards his parents because he feels this emotional debt towards them. Again, a sign of unhealed childhood trauma. So that when that is happening, the energy and attention is never going to you. So your partner is not giving you the attention and the energy to understand you, how the hell mutual understanding will happen, right? Or they have a deep entanglement. Let's say your partner has a deep entanglement with one of the parent, maybe the mother or the father, where they always are a people pleaser to them, or they always want to let that parent dictate your relationship. That will again lead to a lot of conflict and not mutual understanding, right? So entanglement with parents is a very, very, very big sign that conflicts are going to happen, and conflicts are going to happen in a way where you may feel stuck and your partner may also feel stuck. Sometimes your partner may not be able to even accept their mistake. Sometimes they can see their mistake, but they don't know how to change it. In that case, only and only healing unhealed trauma is going to work. No amount of explaining and logicalizing will work, right? Now, the second thing is ego issues and anger issues. Now, when there are a lot of ego issues in the relationship, what tends to happen is that the partner may feel like, if I'm agreeing to you, I am defeated, or I am giving up on myself, or if I'm agreeing to you, you are winning, right? When that kind of mentality is something that you carry or your partner carries, that's again a sign of an unhealthy or a toxic relationship, because again, you think it's me against my partner instead of me with my partner. A relationship lasts when it is you and your partner versus the problem instead of you versus your partner, right? So when there are a lot of ego issues and anger issues, again, it's going to be very difficult to uh, reach to a mutual understanding, because see, mutual understanding is something that you both should consider a win. But if there are ego issues and anger issues, your partner is going to consider, or you are going to consider, mutual understanding as a loss. You want to win. You want to win with your partner, right? And when relationship goes to that stage, then there is no love left, to be very honest, right? Now, again, ego issues and anger issues are also a result of low self-worth. And again, low self-worth comes from unhealed childhood trauma, because again, right, when you have low self-worth, you always try to justify or overpower the conversation. And you, like, ego is nothing but low self-worth wearing a dress, right? Ego is just that. When you have ego, you just have low self-worth. You don't feel good about yourself, you feel very small, so you try very hard to appear big. Anybody who already feels confident about themselves, they don't feel the need to be egoistic about it. When you're egoistic, you feel small. That's a very clear cut like understanding, that's a very clear fact, right? So when your partner has ego issues or you have ego issues, and similarly goes to anger as well. When you get angry, you get hurt very easily, and all of this results into not being a healthy healed adult, right? So again, that goes back to a lot of childhood trauma that you probably carry and you project it onto your partner. The next is lack of confidence and self-esteem. So when you lack self-esteem, right, or when your partner lacks self-esteem, when your partner lacks self-esteem, he will be unable to meet his own needs. Okay, when you don't think highly of yourself, or when you don't believe in yourself, and when you lack confidence, you are unable to meet your own needs. When someone is unable to meet their own needs, how will they meet someone else's needs? How will they come to a mutual understanding when they themselves feel deprived of things? So when someone lacks self-esteem, they will want you to meet their needs because they themselves are unable to, because they themselves believe that they don't have the capacity to. And that is why when you're in a relationship with someone who has low self-esteem, they will take your peace, they will take your self-esteem, they will make it hell for you. So when you lack self-esteem or your partner lacks self-esteem, do inner work. Okay, do it. It's non-negotiable for you. Because when you don't do trauma work, when you don't heal the wounds that are keeping you stuck in this position, you are going to take it from your partner too. Like there's a saying, that if you're with a partner who doesn't have peace, they will take yours. If you're with a partner who has no money, they will take yours. If you are with a partner who has no love in their life, they will take yours. So when you are coming into a relationship, it needs to be two fulfilled individuals coming together, not one individual who is fulfilled and one individual who has nothing to offer, and they're just coming into the relationship, right? So that fulfillment of that one person is going to become half. So be in relationship with people who are willing to work on themselves, because when your partner is not willing to work on themselves, mutual understanding will be hard to reach. So if your partner is probably not able to come to a place where they're able to understand you, then suggest inner work to them. And if you are the partner like that, then do your own inner work, because your capacity to grow into or grow in relationship is directly proportionate to how you grow in life as well. When you have a fixed mindset, then you're going to carry that fixed mindset in the relationship as well. You are suddenly not going to have a growth mindset in a relationship and fixed mindset in real life. That doesn't work that way, right? How you do one thing is how you do everything. So when you have a fixed mindset in your relationship, you probably have a fixed mindset in your personal life as well, for everything. So you need to have a growth mindset in order to have a happy and loving relationship, because you will evolve, you will grow, and you will want different things, right? So will your partner. Now, the next is the people pleasing trauma. Now, this can happen to a partner who is unable to assert their needs, right? Or who's always afraid that if I ask for what I want, my partner will leave me, or if I ask for what I need, my partner will leave me, or I need to agree with everything to my partner, right? So that's people pleasing trauma. That's when you believe that people love me conditionally, and I have to be something, or I have to act like something for people to love me, including your partner. So when that is the case, you can stay stuck in abusive relationships. When that is the case, you can stay in relationships where your partner doesn't really respect you a lot, or when they are unable to meet your needs and yet you're unable to walk out of it, right? Similarly, your partner can have people pleasing trauma to other people, from like for other people, because of which they are unable to meet your needs. So for example, I once was working with a client wherein they had this problem that they were unable to marry their partner because their parents weren't agreeing to the marriage, right? Now this partner that they were with them for few years, and they felt loved and understood with their partner only. They didn't feel loved and understood by their parents at all. Yet they felt such a big pull, such a big guilt for choosing themselves when it comes to a life partner, right? When they wanted to marry a partner of their own choice, that they were stuck in that for a very very long time, right? So we had to work on a lot on his people pleasing trauma so that he can come out of it, right? And again, there was still some bits left even when we entered the container, because the trauma was just that deep. So the point I'm trying to make is, sometimes you can have such deep loyalties to your old system, your parents, or even to other people, that you're unable to actually fully be in your present relationship. You're unable to meet your partner's needs because you are busy meeting other people's needs, including your parents. You have to understand that when you are in a relationship or when you get married, your new family system takes precedence over the old family system. And when you're unable to do that, issues are going to arrive. Mutual understanding will not happen because you're not fully present, right? So if you have people pleasing trauma or your partner has it, work on it. Do deep inner work. There is no way around it. Instead of bringing other people into your relationship, seeking advice from your parents, or giving up on your relationship, do your own inner work so that both of you can grow together, right? Instead of giving up, do the growth that you really need, right? That you really need to bring in your relationship. Okay. Now, the next point is lack of self love. Now, again, right, it's an extension of the very first point. When you don't love yourself, you won't be able to love your partner. And when you don't love your partner, you won't be able to understand their needs. And when you're unable to understand their needs, how will you come to a mutual understanding? For you to love someone else, you have to really, really love yourself. Because the thing is that when you don't love yourself, there will come a point where you will stop loving your partner too. You can only give what you have. You understand? When you don't have love for yourself, you won't be able to give love to your partner. It will take one fight, it will take one difficult situation in life for you to give up on your relationship. And I've seen that very, very often. So when you don't love yourself deeply, and when I say self love, what do I mean? Self love is not just taking care of yourself, going out on expensive dates with yourself, or spending money on yourself. Self love is, do you accept yourself even if other people don't? Do you accept yourself if your parents are against you? Do you accept yourself when you're making choices that are radically different from what other people are saying? Are you able to love yourself even if you are unable to, let's say, meet your needs or meet your goals? Right? Most people abandon themselves the moment they don't comply to certain rules that their parents have said, that the society have said. That's not love. When you only love yourself when things are going great in your life, that's not love. That's a transaction, right? You love yourself conditionally. That's not love. I'm talking about unconditional love. Will you stay by your side? Will you love yourself enough to invest in your inner work? Will you love yourself enough to put yourself first? Will you love yourself enough to heal your trauma wounds? Will you love yourself enough to put yourself first? These are the questions that you need to answer to, because if you can't love yourself, you won't be able to give what we have. When we don't have depth, when we don't have love, we can't give love to other people. That's not going to happen. Now, coming to the last part on how to actually resolve it, I am going to again see if we are still live. All right, we are live. So we'll continue to the last part of a conversation, which is how to actually resolve it. Now, how to actually resolve the lack of mutual understanding. Now, I've given you a lot of background on what is the work that you need to do, because without it, what will happen is that everything will feel like a bandage. So, again, I'll give you a real life example. So, I was once working with a client a couple of years back, wherein they had a problem wherein her and her husband wouldn't agree on most things. Okay, and one of the reason was that their partner, so my client's partner, had a lot of anger issues. And something that I told her is that no matter how much you work on this, your partner also needs to work on his anger issues, because if he doesn't work on it, our work will not reach the depth of your relationship that it should. Okay. And unfortunately, their partner didn't take help for their anger issues. Now we worked on a lot of things, and my partner was able to stand up for herself. I'm saying my partner, my client, sorry, my client was able to stand up. For herself in front of her partner. My client was able to assert her needs. But what happened was, a few months later, she again texted me that we may be separating because issues are again arising. And I asked her the same question: did your partner work on him? Like, did your partner work on himself? And her answer was no, he didn't work on himself. And he thinks that there is no fault in him at all, right? So that's a very big red flag, to be very honest. If your partner is unwilling to work on himself, and again goes for both the genders, okay, then your relationship will hit a roadblock, and something will break. Okay, either you will lose trust, or you will lose love, or you will lose respect. Something you will lose towards your partner. Usually what I found is it's respect and trust. Love, unfortunately, what tends to happen is that when you're staying together for someone for a very long time, love may come back, but then you start to lose trust in your partner, and you lose respect for your partner too. So if you're with a partner who doesn't work on himself or herself, then I would say encourage them. And if they don't, then really rethink your relationship, because your partner is going to have the biggest impact in your life. When your partner is someone who doesn't want to grow for you, or who doesn't want to grow for the relationship, then you can be sure that not you're not going to be able to do much, to be very honest. Right, I have seen people do pujas, go into astrology, crystals and rings and whatnot. Now, I'm not demeaning someone's faith. You can do whatever you want, but you are doing it because you feel that somehow it will change your relationship. It will not. Your relationship is a result of two systems coming together, yours and your partner's. You can't do everything. You can't do everything, no. Your partner also needs to do their inner work. So you have to talk about these at home. You have to start having conversations with your partner about this. That if there's something that you are unable to fix, you got to take help for that. And if you are the one, if you are the partner in question when you don't want to take help, then what are you doing? How is this love? A big part of loving someone is being able to give them what they want. And how you give them is by growing, expanding yourself. Everything in your life requires expansion. You expand yourself for your career, right? You expand your skill set. Why wouldn't you do that for the person you love, for the person you want to procreate with, for the person you want to spend the rest of your life with? So be with people who have a growth mindset. Be with people who are willing to do their inner work, because these are the people who will not disappoint you. These are the people who are willing to extend themselves to meet you. These are the people who you will feel truly happy with. Otherwise, as I said, right, either you will lose love or respect or trust. Now, coming to how to resolve it, the very first thing is clear communication of your needs, wants, and desires. Please do not assume that your partner knows something just because you've been together for many years. Okay, your partner is not a mind reader. Communicate your needs, wants, and desires. If you don't communicate, how will you come to a mutual understanding? I have seen people say, "Oh, I thought my partner would understand. Oh, I thought my partner would know. We have been together for so many years. Oh, I never thought I had to explain it. Or I never thought I would have to express it." Well, why not? Why do you believe your partner is a mind reader? We all live a very full life. We all have work. We all have other things to do. We all have so many things to worry about. So many times your partner may miss what you may be thinking or feeling. So communicate what you want. Communicate the not only communicate what you want from your partner, communicate what you can offer to your partner. Right, that is how you meet halfway. That is how you come to a mutual understanding. Right. And I don't just mean about needs. Also talk about what is affecting you, what's not affecting you. If something about your partner is affecting you, if something about relationship is affecting you, speak. Don't be in an assumption that your partner will one day understand, because they will not. The second thing is respecting your partner's viewpoint as well. Now, this is also a very big part of mutual understanding. You can't go into a relationship thinking everything has to go according to me. Okay? You are in a relationship with your partner, so respect their point of view. Right? Which brings me to the next point. Be okay with agreeing to disagree. You don't have to agree with everything with your partner. You and your partner are not morphed into one individual. Okay? You two are separate individuals. So do not be obsessed with that my partner has to agree with everything that I agree with. Right? Maybe you both have different political ideologies. Maybe you both have different viewpoints on let's say politics, or let's say I think I already mentioned politics. Let's say economics, okay, how the world works, or finances. Right now, agree to disagree, yes, but make sure that when it comes to important points, you're agreeing on them. So again, as I said, right, important points are mutual finances, both of you, like what are the financial path that you want to take as a couple, and if you want to have kids or not, the living situation if you're getting married, or the kind of relationships you want to maintain with each other's family. So these are very important things. So important things, of course, you're going to have to agree on. You can have different viewpoints, but I'm talking about other things, right? Maybe you both have different ideas of enjoying yourself. So maybe one of you is an extrovert, one of you is an introvert. Maybe one of you is not a big fan of loud music, one of you is. Maybe one of you is into partying, maybe one of you is not. These are things you can agree to disagree on, but important things you have to agree on, or at least be able to manage. If you don't agree with, at least you're able to give that to your partner. That's very important. Right. Now, the next thing is meeting halfway. Now, I can't stress this enough. Please ask your partner multiple times what is their idea of halfway and what is your idea of halfway, because again, both of your ideas can be very, very different. The more you meet halfway with your partner, the less resentful you will be and your partner will be. Right, and you have to set this precedence from the beginning. You cannot be that, oh my god, I'm in love, I will agree with everything my partner is saying, and then later you surprise your partner, oh, I did not agree with it, I just did it out of love. That doesn't seem fair. Okay, be make it a precedent from the beginning that you both are going to meet each other's needs. You both are going to meet halfway. Now halfway doesn't always mean 50-50. Halfway can be 60-40. Halfway sometimes can also be 70-30. That proportion you get to decide with your partner, but make sure that both of your needs are being met, not just your partner and not just yours. Now, do your inner work. I can't stress this enough. If you are not willing to grow, your relationship is going to hit a dead end. You will not grow with your partner. And your relationship will turn into one of those things that, oh my God, now we have gotten married, so we have to drag it out. Drag it out for the kids, drag it out for the society. If you don't want your relationship to go to that extent, do your inner work and encourage your partner to do your inner work too. Okay, because as you age, as you grow, both of you are going to grow in relationship. Okay, like individually also, and relationship wise also. If you don't keep a check in with each other, and if you don't grow as a person, then you won't be able to meet your partner's needs. Okay, when that happens, that is when the distance starts to happen, and that is when mutual understanding goes to shit. So do your inner work and also encourage your partner to do their inner work, because if one person is growing and the other person is not, the gap will happen. The person who has grown will become resentful, right? And the person who is not growing will become angry that why did my partner change. But when both of you are growing, now it is okay if one partner has grown, another partner is catching up, but when both of you are growing, only then will the relationship work. Otherwise, as I told you, right, either the respect or the love will be lost, right? So make sure that you're doing your inner work and your partner is also doing their inner work. And the last point, which is something that I really, really encourage all of you to follow, no matter what you are doing in life, is be honest. Okay, be honest about your relationship and how you're feeling about it. I can't tell you how many people I've spoken to in my consult calls, wherein they have been lying to themselves for a very long time about the relationship. They are in some false hope one day things will change, and when I ask them how will they change, I don't know. That's the answer I get. um Time will heal things. How will time heal things, I don't know. I've gotten answers like that, frankly speaking. And when I ask them how you're feeling about it, I see this growing numbness, this growing, what do you call it, emptiness in people in my consult calls, in my clarity calls. And I've had to tell them that things will not change automatically. Someone has to change, someone has to do the work. Okay, and when I say work, I mean the inner work. I have seen people outsource their inner work to stupid things like just blatantly believing anything, as I said, right, going into astrology, going into things, this and that, rather than simply growing within, simply changing themselves, right? So be honest about how you're feeling about your relationship. If you're dissatisfied, be honest about it. It doesn't hurt. Okay, it's just going to liberate you from that burden. If you feel dissatisfied in any part of it, if you feel unloved, if you feel disrespected, be honest. The more honest you are, the clearer your path will become as to which path you need to walk on. The more you stay foggy, the more you stay confused, the more you will become confused about everything in life. You will become inauthentic, you will lose your confidence over time. So if you are not satisfied, say it. If you are feeling disrespected, say it. If you're feeling unloved, say it. And do your inner work so that you can understand what is the resolution for this problem, right? Okay. So that is it from my side for today. I'm going to see if we have any questions so far. If we don't, we are going to bid goodbye. And you will see me for the next live that will probably happen on Saturday. I usually announce my lives here only on LinkedIn, so you can keep a look out for that. I don't think we have any questions. So we're going to end our live event today. And if you have any questions, maybe that comes to you later as a part of reflecting on this live event, then as I said, you can just put it in the YouTube comment section if you're watching it on YouTube, or you can just DM me. And if you are really, really looking forward to working on your relationship, you can just book a one-on-one coaching session with me by DMing me coaching. Thank you so much for joining. And for those of you who have watched this as a recording, if this is a specific topic you want me to talk about, you can always put in a request and I would love to take that topic up. I I also have free communities called the Safe Space, as well as another community that I have wherein I do a lot of trauma informed classes. You can join both of them, and you will find the link to both of them in the featured section of my profile. And I hope that you continue on your journey of healing. I know it's not an easy one, but it leads you to such beautiful places, and it leads you to a point in life where you just don't want to go back because you've just grown so much, right? So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you coming Saturday for our next live. Bye bye.